Hey everyone, I'm Clue. Welcome back to the Data Pack project. Now, we can finally start going over weapons. Right? Guinea pigs? Now, there are a lot to go over. So there's 11 different affinities, which are like the attunements or the types of weapons, and then there's all the different mechanics. So for instance, we have Sneak. This is one we're going to go over today, and then I'll probably do Sprint in its own video, and then we'll tackle each affinity by itself, because yeah, there's numerous things to go over, and in terms of sneaking and sprinting, they're pretty similar. So for instance, you can see the counter on screen right now, it says is sneak, so if I hold down sneak, it counts up, then it resets, and it counts back up, and that essentially will trigger the special ability on the weapons. So, what do we have? We have Golden Shovel, and Affinity Nether, no. We want Ancients. Right, so we have our Ancient Golden Shovel, if you will. Okay, so it's got that trigger effects by sneaking and ancient affinity. So what does it do? Well, as long as you have it equipped, you sneak, right? You do a ground pound. And that's interesting. Why did they pop up there? They're meant to be centered on the entities you hit. That one was, but then this one is popping up out of nowhere, right? If there's no entities, they pop up. Is grass counted as an entity? Interesting. Or an item, maybe? No, that's not the one. Well, I kind of like the randomness, to be honest. Right? But it is meant to just hit any entities that you target. Also, that seems to be doing a lot of damage, right? Evoker Fangs. Since when were they one-shots? Anyway, that is the Ancient Shovel. I'm going to go ahead and give myself all 11, right? So 10 more. And then we'll go through them all one by one. Right, so there we have it. All 11 different shovels, if you will. So all the different affinities. Oh, they are using the same color palette. I need to make this one lighter, right? So we have Overworld, Ocean, Nether, Golden, Ender, Enchanted. Oh, that is way too dark. Deep Dark, if you can barely read it. Celestial, Ancient, and then Sky and Soul. Right, so they each have their own special ability tied to sneaking, because that's what we're going over today. So all just the trigger effects by sneaking. Some of these definitely need color balancing, right? So that needs to be a bit darker, and also not as blue. That needs to be visible, and then one of these needs to swap. This one probably needs to be a lighter blue. But yeah, so they all have unique models, right? And they are trims, meaning that you can use any weapon as a base, right? It doesn't have to be gold, right? You can see the specks of gold shine through depending on the different item. So for instance, the Overworld, it's just on that left-hand side. It's like a growth. And we also do need some guinea pigs. Now, the way it works, obviously with the counter, is when we shift, it counts up, and then it detects your items in hand. So for instance, if we have one in our offhand and one in our main hand, it will trigger both effects. So you can see we get some fire particles, and there is some bubble particles, right? Because we have the ocean and we have the nether affinity weapons. So, what are the actual effects? Well, guinea pig time, right? Let's start with nether. Yeah, pretty obvious. Lights them all on fire, does a little bit of scorch damage. And there is also a unique mechanic with all of the affinity weapons. So what they actually do is they tag an entity with affinity, right? And then the second time you use one of the abilities, be it sneaking, be it sprinting, be it hitting, defeating mobs, any of those, it's going to run another command that actually triggers an effect if an entity nearby is tagged with affinity. So for instance, the nether affinity, right? If you've hit something and they've got the affinity tag, when you use the special ability, it's going to do more damage and it's going to do some other unique effects. Okay, so that should be pretty fun and interesting. Again, this is work in progress, so I can only show off so much, right? I do have, obviously, the groundwork for all of that, but I have not done any of the other abilities outside of sneaking. Right, what else do we have? Well, gold is just a nice damage ground pound. Right, so you just pop up, and then you do a little bit of damage. How many hits? I think it's 3 hits to finish off an entity. I think this is End, if I remember correctly. End does a little damage, and yeah, groups them up. So they teleport randomly to one another. Right. Enchanted is next. Should do, what does it do? Does a little bit of damage and tags them. It should be generating experience. Right. No, can't see. It's alright. This was the Deep Dark. Also more damage. The majority of them are just AoE damage effects, right? And then they have sometimes unique triggers. So this Celestial one, for instance, right, makes it rain nether stars. And then the nether stars do damage in themselves and apply some special effects. then Ancient. Ancient was a mishmash, right? So it's doing the Evoke of Fangs, but I'm not actually getting the other effects to trigger. Are you tagged properly? List. It's list. Yes, you have affinity. So for instance, if I were to run the function, Runechant, weapon effects trigger, right, these are all the affinity triggers. So for instance, if we go with... that's why. There's some missing. Right, so we have Enchanted, we have End, Nether, Ocean. We're missing Ancient, Celestial, so I do have to check them. But there, you can see. Right. What? Items being tagged. Okay, that's also an issue. Right, so it's tagging items, and every time the affinity bonus triggers, it's generating experience, because it's the enchanted mechanism. So it is nice to see that that does work, although it's not triggering on our little ground pound. We'll go through the rest of the shovels, and then I'll tinker a bit and see if we can fix things up. Okay, so we have Ocean. Put some more guinea pigs down. Oh, make sure it's in your hand. Right, so it does a little splash. So in terms of like PvP or anything like that, it'll get rid of torches. I guess it'll disrupt building and push people away slightly. And then also just does damage, because again, all of them basically just do some AoE damage and then have a secondary effect. For instance, this one should poison eventually. No, you're not working either. Yeah, it seems like the second step, the affinity triggers, aren't actually working. I mean, they're all being tagged, which is great, but it's not actually running the second function. Or it's not running the function as me, right, at my location. This is the, what is this? Soul. Okay, that makes sense, right? They're the soul particles. It should also be healing me. I might run into a bit of trouble. Right, but I should be able to regen off of siphoning their souls if I could. Yes, you can see me get some, but there is also a cooldown on the shift mechanic. Right, so when it's in the negative, I can't actually reshift. It only takes a few seconds. Oh, this is bad. It only takes a few seconds when it's off of cooldown. So right now when it's at 0, right, all it has to do is count to 10, which should only be half a second, I think, right, because a tick is a second. I am taking seasonal effect damage. That is not good. And then it heals me up. You're taking seasonal effect damage too. And then Sky, that's the last one. Not close enough. Interesting. Sky is not working at all. Right, no particle effect, nothing. Function. No, they're all built into the jump smash. Curious. Okay, let me tweak some things and see if I can get the little mechanics that aren't working. Right, that should be much better. All 11 triggers are here now, and all of the sneak effects as well. So, let's try this again. Right, Husk Friends. We have our Sky Shovel, and we shift. Does some damage, and then the second time does nothing now. Oh. Still not operating exactly how I want. Right, it's doing the damage, but it's not causing the other function. So if we do function Runechant trigger, no, not trigger, if I could spell it right. Weapon, oh, it's just easier if I scroll. Weapon effects trigger, Sky. Right. Yeah, that works, but the shifting is not causing it to trigger, which is interesting because it should. What else was messed up? Was anything else messed up? Right, we did Soul, Overworld. Actually, all these are just to do with the triggering. Right, they should be doing the triggering effects. And also zombies are immune to poison. Right, that's why we're not seeing that work. Okay, let me have another crack at the triggers and see if we can strike them with lightning with our Sky Shovel. Always the simplest things, right? What am I missing? Yeah, I'm missing that. Okay. At least it wasn't too big of a deal. I also need to change the tagging system, right? So it only tags living entities, not just items or stuff on the ground. Otherwise, these will really get out of hand as effects. Much better. Got it working. And now it doesn't just tag everything. So, first, a little sneak, right? Just does some AoE damage. Then we do it a second time, and they all get struck by lightning, right? The ones that are now tagged with the affinity, even if they're not in our AoE, because we're triggering the affinity bonus, they all get struck by lightning. And then the same goes for all the other weapons, they all have their own affinity bonuses. So for instance, actually I don't think we can see the soul. We might be able to. Soul should apply withering on the second affinity. Yeah, there you go. So now they're all taking withering damage, and it'll also heal us, which is a nice one. And then the enchanted shovel, we sort of saw before. So they also all already have affinity, right? So we can use this to siphon experience off of them. Doesn't do any damage or anything, just collects experience. That's the other nice thing about this system, right? So I'm just using affinity as a broad tag, right? So meaning if we use any weapon's special ability, they get tagged with affinity. We can then swap to any other weapon we want to then trigger the proper affinity bonus from it. So for instance, Ancient, right? All these entities still have affinity. So they get chomped on, or in that case, they go Dragon Fireball. Still not sure what's going on with the teeth, right? Why they're summoning so many numerous ones. Oh, we have a Spectral Warden. It doesn't quite work. I thought they were aggressive to everything. I might have to change that one to like Iron Golem or something. So a lot of teeth. Okay, so what do we have? Gold is just AoE, or more AoE damage. Right, so if we tag them all with affinity, okay, do it again, we should get a lot more gold bursts and a bit higher damage. So gold's all about damage. Ancient is some random effects. Celestial, that's the other interesting one. Right, so summon our little guinea pigs. Shifts. Summons a bunch of falling stars. Do it again. And they all get some random effects, including levitation. Right. Pretty neat looking. I like the stars falling down. I might make them do damage though. Because I'm just hitting. They don't really do too much. Nether, fine, we don't have to show that off. Ender is sort of some random teleportation. Alright, cool. I am in the windy zone again. And now I'm stuck with the gale. There we go. Seasonal effects. No, I still have it. Yeah, I'm still getting shifted around. Anyway, Ender. Right, so you get teleported that way. Then we do it again. We get teleported at all? It's still sort of random-ish. But it should increase the range overall. Enchanted we already did. Sky was lightning. Deep Dark is some sonic boom bursts, right? So the first trigger is just our AoE shock popping. I can't even jump on the block because of the gale. Oh, I don't have the shovel. Right, and now that they all have the tag, sonic boom burst, so they detonate essentially. I'm pretty sure it does AoE damage too, so that's a nice one. Soul, we already saw. Overworld is poison. We'll grab out some Vindicators. They are actually susceptible. Alright, shifts. Nothing. Oh, actually, no, they got poison straight away. So what's the greater one? Ooh, okay. It inflicted us, which should not happen. We should be outside the range. So I need to fix that up. Do we have the tag, Fendi? Is that what's going on? List. No. You should never be able to apply affinity to yourself, but other players can apply affinity to you and then cause their effects to trigger off of you, right? So everything should be usable in PvP. So I need to look into Overworld. And then Ocean, I still have the affinity tag, is just more random water, if you will, right? So I'm just using level 9 water to act as sort of a burst or a buffer, right? So they all get affinity, and then we get some more random droplets of water, just shifting them about, and also do some submerge damage. Anyway, that'll do it. Right. First foray into the custom weapons. All the models, right? Look forward to showing off all the different ones. The swords, the axes, the hoes, and the pickaxes. Still need to work on the trident, bow, and shield and crossbow. They're a bit more complicated, and they'll take me a little bit, so I have to spend, you know, a weekend or so here or there doing them. I'd rather get the actual functions done before I tackle the art. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. Right, see you next time for sprinting mechanics. Right, so similar to this, the ground pound, I want a universal type of ability. It'll probably be a trail or something. And then the actual different effects depending on which affinity you're running. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. See ya.